Great. Thank you for that very generous introduction this afternoon, and a good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to give a special thanks to Association President Bruce Sleeper and Chairman Wayne Davis of Train Riders Northeast for the opportunity to speak to the group. And I'd also like to thank the association for their longtime advocacy on behalf of passenger rail, for their vision and commitment to the Downeaster, which is what's led it to the service that we have today. When people ask me about, how can we get rail expanded to more and more of the U.S., especially with the IIJA that makes it so feasible, I often tell them the most important thing really is local support, and I think that this is something that the Downeaster and the association has proven over and over again, and I'm very happy to see that you're able to help others. For instance, the Scranton service, I think, is taking a page out of your book, that you can help others in being able to provide the kind of service to their communities that you have in yours. Um, I'd also like to point out the tremendous volunteer station ambassador program that you have. Last time I was up in Maine, Patricia showed us around, and she was very proud to show us how well that program is working. I'd like to thank the residents and businesses in Maine for the support. And as I said, that really sort of fulsome local support and the funding that it enables really is what makes so many of these services viable, and not only viable, but sustainable in the long run. I'd like to thank NEPRA for their strong leadership in really developing and running the operation. Patricia Quinn, Patricia is a dear friend of ours. She could be a bit of a tough taskmaster sometimes, but that's what keeps us, I think, better than we would be otherwise. Really appreciate our relationship with Patricia. She has been really a leading light in state supported service for many years in this country. Natalie Bogart, also at NEPRA, and the rest of the team there, thank you so much. Thank you to, we're also looking forward to working with NEPRA and Maine DOT on several new projects coming up. So the Brunswick to Rockland extension, which we're hoping to get underway very soon. Also, something that I think is really important for the future of the service, which is looking at relocating and building a new Portland station, which will speed up the service on the line and also make the station more convenient to the community. Also improvements in station and track in Wells, and also adding a new station in Falmouth. These are all things that have been possible because of the ongoing success of the service. Anyway, so a great reflection on everybody who's been involved. And then looking a bit further into the future, towards the end of the decade, really excited to look forward to the new Aero train sets. So those are new state-of-the-art train sets, which which Amtrak's procuring for the Northeast Corridor, and also several of our state services, including the Downeaster. And that really will be transformational in terms of the comfort and modern amenities that people will be able to enjoy on the trains. I'd also like to talk a little bit about some transition in the equipment that's going on at the moment. I understand there have been questions, but we're planning on transitioning the Downeaster from the current Amfleet equipment that has been used the last several years to the Horizon equipment. And really that's part of a process we're going through to look at our service plans across the country as ridership has returned, as we've received new equipment in the Midwest. The new venture cars, that has actually enabled us to use Horizons in certain areas, and make sure that we have more equipment in the Downeaster service to provide for growth and flexibility to add things like the Rockland service. So I think it's a win-win all around, and it helps keep the fleet size on the Downeaster ready to take advantage of future growth. So with that, I'd like to open it up to any questions and start the meeting.
I guess I've got a couple. Don't get away so easy. First of all, one of our members who couldn't be here today asked, when is Amtrak going to put full dining service back on the Lakeshore and the two Florida trains? Also, are they ever going to put their new dining cars in service?
So both really good questions. So on the Lakeshore Limited, we're currently in the process of evaluating the food service that we do deliver and trying to figure out what's the best way to deliver a better experience for the customer, both in terms of service and the food presented. It's a little bit, it's one of our shortest long distance trains. It's only about 19 hours long. Most of our trains are, or many of them are in the, 30 to 50 hour elapsed time for the trip. So the service patterns on board are a little bit different. And we're trying to figure out how do we deliver a really kind of top-notch dining experience, one that's commensurate with what customers come to expect, with the consideration that it is a very much shorter train time, and many of those hours are spent overnight when customers are actually sleeping. So it's really about trying to fit the service design with the amount of time that's on the train. But it is something that we're actively working on. The other point about getting I think we're alluding to the Viewliner 2 diners, the calf-built diners. Quite a number of them were taken out of service during COVID. Also partly because we had some problems with the quality of the construction of the equipment as they were delivered from the vendor. And we've worked through that issue, and we have a repair program going on, and we will be returning those cars to service. And in fact, we hope to be putting about 4 more of those cars in service before the end of this year.
Question?
Just a quick question. I was wondering what happens to the old Acela rolling stock and also the Downeaster rolling stock when it's replaced?
So regarding the Acelas, unfortunately, the equipment we have is really at the end of life. Structurally, they're fine, but a great many of the systems that were included in the trains, things like electrical systems, control systems, the air suspension, they're very close to the end of their useful life. We don't have the ability to update, the operating software that the system uses, for instance. And there really, because this fleet was a custom-built fleet, there really isn't a world market for a lot of the spare parts we need for the train. So we're having a bit of a challenge keeping them all in service today. I think we're doing a pretty good job considering the challenges we have, but we don't think that there's really feasible service life left in them without a very significant rebuild program that would be many years long and require many tens of millions of dollars. So we're really looking forward to getting the new Acelas in place because they do offer so much more capacity than the existing trains. And of course, we also ordered significantly more. We ordered 8 more than the existing fleet. And then regarding the equipment that will be retired from the Downeaster service, the Amfleet coaches are approaching 50 years of life, and while they're safe now, they are deteriorating over time, and we don't expect there to be any realistic service life left after the end of that roughly 50-year period.
Thank you.
All right, so the Amfleet equipment is not being diverted to another service after?
Well, after we cycle the Horizons into the Downeaster, the Amfleets will be used on the Northeast Corridor for the last few years of their service, and the Horizons, which are significantly newer than the Amfleets, will be used on the Downeaster.
Now, as far as the Horizon equipment goes, it's my understanding that we will be pretty much the only service that uses that in the eastern part of the United States when they arrive here.
Yes, that's true. The only ones outside of the Midwest.
Is that going to have any effect on maintenance or spare parts and things like that?
No, it shouldn't do. Clearly, there are some components and some tooling that is unique to that fleet. But the fleet also has a fair number of components, both interior and exterior, that are common either to the AM fleets or to the Superliner 2s that were built about the same time, and the Viewliners. So there are some common parts, and we don't expect there to be a problem with supply chain. No.
Where are the Horizon cars going to be maintained while they're here, outside of the day-to-day?
Where are they going to what? Sorry?
Maintain.
They'll be maintained in Southampton Yard. You mean, well, they'll be the frequent maintenance will be done in Brunswick, just like it is today, and then the more detailed work will be done in Southampton.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time, especially on fairly short notice.
No problem.
Oh, so you'll come back tomorrow?
Well, I don't know about tomorrow, but I really do enjoy working with our state partners. And like I started out by saying, the dedication and hard work that the local communities put in is really what determines the success of the programs. And also having a visionary leader like Patricia, who's been steadfast in her pursuit of doing the right thing, which is one of the pillars of Amtrak is doing the right thing. And I'd like to thank Patricia for always kind of keeping us on our toes and making this the whole service work.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.